Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon everyone. How are you today? First of all, I would like to thank you for Mr. Indra who has given us time to present material about global trends in language learning 21st century, and we are from the second group. Let me introduce our group. My name is Intan Alindah Berlianti, and my partner is Aisyah Maulida, Maulana Subagio, Muhammad Abizar, and Indah Triana Sari. The first material will be explained by me. So, the field of language education is changing at an ever-increasing rate. Traditional notions of education are giving way to newer, more innovative ways of thinking about how we learn, teach, and acquire knowledge. Education system from the 21st century require teachers who can be able to apply methodologies and strategies for this new era of technology and globalization. Students are more creative and passionate than ever, and this should encourage teachers employ modern technique in their classroom. Although there are classroom settings that seem to be inappropriate to teach, there is always a way out to lead construction environment that can be perfect scenarios acquire knowledge. The key is to form teachers who have competence such critical thinking, problem solving, decision making, assertive communication, leadership, creativity, among others. Teachers of the 21st century need to be updated and ready to apply and create the whole set of approaches, methods, strategies, and tools available to enrich the teaching learning process, since they are the ones responsible of instructing a new era of children and teenagers. And teenagers who will become the future of a multicultural and globalized world. We believe that all these changes that we are facing in the 21st century education, we need to adjust to our student needs. Therefore, it is important to be ready to apply different approaches with the purpose of selecting the most appropriate teaching learning strategies to cover the topics being taught. It is important to construct knowledge by using teaching learning strategies that enhance significant learning, which must be designed according to the student needs, the classroom setting, and the different sociocultural circumstances. Due to this, technology become an extremely important tool, since our students have it right there, and they are using in real time. Student purpose of learning a language has changing from focusing on grammar and structure to being able to communicate, meet people, empower others, and make a difference in the world. Let's motivate our students by having more dynamic lessons thanks to technology and media. Thank you. The next slide will be delivered by Aisyah Maulida.
And the next material will be explained by me. So the material is What's Out. And you can see on the slide there are 5 What's Out global trends language learning in 21st century. So I'm going to explain the first point. The first point is fake. Hollow promise can be proven. And today, students have a lot of information and research from their tips. And nowadays, in 21st century, job market require more than a knowledge and another language, and a comprehensive skill is needed for employment nowadays. Yeah, and that includes numeracy, thinking skill, computer use, and ability to teamwork. You can see on the slide. Yeah. So nowadays students ignore about if learning another language can help can get a better job. So the student ignore about it because nowadays learning another language is one of number skill, only one of number skill to help an individual meaningful for employment. Only help for individual, not for get a better job. So yeah, that is the reason why the nowadays student fake and hollow promise can be proven. Yeah. Okay. I hope you got my point. So I will go to next point. And the second point is saying that learning language is easy. Yeah, because today's in 21st century, students have a tech savvy and more quick to understand and know about something that can be proven. So this is the challenge, the big challenge in 21st century for learning language. Yeah, because people that fluent with another language, that they put dedicate consistent and then effort to learning another language. So there are way to learning another language with enjoyable and funny. So this is the challenges in 21st century. The third point is authoritative teacher attitude. In 21st century, young people is very aware about they more than know many information, at least it is from internet or technology. The young people more than know about the hardware, software, and the topic relate with the internet from technology. So this is a challenge for teacher. Teachers have to collaboration with the student with the approach teaching method. So this is the teacher attitude in global trends in 21st century. I hope you got the point. And the fourth is complaining about cutback and lack of funding. There is a sad phenomenon when a lot of teacher is cut back. So in today, student don't remember about the phenomenon, and the student don't care about the teacher have overwork, and this is the challenge or the job for the teacher in 21st century. Okay. And the last point is language labs. Language lab is a model of teaching language. This purpose to guide auditory exposure the language. So in 20th century, there is no foreign language program in television. There is no internet. But in this 21st century, in this digital world, there are many audio from internet, from handphone, from television program. There are many audio about learning language from a lot of research. Okay, thanks. I think that is enough. Thank you.
Okay, the next material will be delivered by me. It's about what's in. The first point is clear, profitable demonstration learning. This point is talking about clear demonstration of the impact language learning on students. There are a lot of ways we can learn some language. According to Grace 1992, the use of student portfolios is increasing in education in general. When it becomes to be a media in demonstration in learning, student portfolios are gaining popularity at a rapid pace because there are collaborative efforts between teacher and students, and that provide clear demonstration of a student's progress and achievements. Students are guided by their teachers to develop their own portfolios over time. On student portfolios, it contains of their knowledge and authentic language use. The second point are frameworks, benchmarks, and other asset-based approach to assessment. What is asset-based assessment? As I explained before, a student portfolio demonstrates success in the student's progress and achievements, and also provides a means to assess students' learning using an asset-based approach. So, asset-based assessment is replacing traditional deficit-based models of evaluation. According to Papamichael and Waller, 2009, traditional ways of assessing language acquisition are inadequate in today's world. So, today language acquisition is seen as a complex. Traditional multiple choice or fill in the blank activities and tests, which are easy to grade, do not reflect the complexity that is involved in learning a language. Over the past 20 years, there has been a worldwide movement towards the development and implementation of benchmark systems and frameworks that take an asset-based approach to language assessment. One example of a successful national benchmarking system is the Canadian Language Benchmarks, or CLB, for Canada's two official languages, English and French. And the last point from me are individualized, customizable, learner-centered approach. In the 21st century, individualized instruction is becoming the norm. This approach will celebrate students' individual talents, aptitudes, and skills. While this approach may be unsettling for teachers who are used to exercising their authority and determine student outcomes, it is likely that the trend towards learner-centered approaches and student participation in the development of outcomes will be continued. Okay, I think enough from me. The next material will be delivered by Indah Trianasari. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, continue with the point that Bagyo has explained. The next point is proving the value of language learning through speech and story. There are three reasons why we should use stories or speech to learn language. The first reason is stories are entertaining and fun, and it will create environment of linguistic and cultural immersion. So from the first reason, we can see that one of the reason why people struggle with language learning is because they find that practicing learning language quite boring. And as we know, in this era, students don't like about the material or something that is stiff. So reading stories can increase their reading interest, and indirectly they also learn about the language that the language of the story that they read. For example, if they read about the story from the China, they also learn about Mandarin language, right? And if we continuously read a story or listening the story, we will benefit greatly from a lot of immersion time, which is very useful for building a strong connection with the language, and learning language, it will be faster, right? The second reason is stories teach us grammar and syntax in the most natural way, and also help us memorize new vocabulary. As we know that when we read stories, we also increase our vocabulary, and stories give us an opportunity to acquire a language's grammar and syntax in the most natural way. Can you imagine when you read a story, you not only read the plots or setting or characters of the stories that you read, but you can intuitively acquire grammar, understand and adopt the patterns you notice. It's like how children learn grammar rules, right? But in this case, you learn simply by taking the context of the story. And the last reason is a story give us context. How a story give us the context? As we know, in stories, every word you come across is surrounded by other word and phrase, right? Essentially, stories always give us some context, and context is key for memorizing word because it helps us create connection and association which are paramount if you want to remember the new vocabulary. So for the next point is using technology for language learning. Talking about that, it is not about using technology for the sake of using technology, but it is about using technology to demonstrate student learning in order to show how they themselves reflects upon the impact language learning has had on them, and then sharing it with others through technology that they use to create their own projects. For example, Mr. Indra gave us the project to make a virtual presentation. So we should make the video and then a PowerPoint. After that, we should upload the video on the YouTube. So it is the example that we use technology for language learning, right? Or other example is Mr. Ashori give us assignment to make a blog, to write anything on the blog, or we have to learn about the material from Mr. Indra from Zoom meeting. So it is all so those are is the example using technology for language learning, right? So even though we cannot meet in the real classroom, we still learning language uh, at home or from home, right? So I hope you got the point that I explained. And the third is linking language learning to leadership skill. Some teens in 2004 say that students today want to learn a language not only to communicate, but also as a means to find contacts, meet people, and establish partnership. Means that such activities can only be facilitated by learning other language, but leadership and interpersonal skill are also necessary to make a connection and develop lasting partnership. There is a trend toward learning other language as mean not only to become self-empowered but also to empower others. Students are choosing to learn another language in order to go to a country where they can make a difference for however short a time. And they can do the projects such as housing project, clean water project, health related project, or a project that help children and families in the developing world. So learning a language in order to reach out to others and make a difference in the world is in, right? Okay, so the last point is showing founders the impact their investment has on our students, our communities, and our world. From the slide, you can see that today savvy educators and program directors are demonstrating how funding makes a difference rather than simply asking for more. Demonstrating the impact that funding makes is a less antagonistic, more positive approach, and it is a growing trend in the non-profit and voluntary sectors or National Council for Voluntary Organization, and is also emerging as a trend uh, in education, right? Okay, so that's all from me, and the next material is about conclusion. It will be delivered by Abizar. For Abizar, time is yours.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Abizar. I'm from Group 2. I'm here as a conclusion. I conclude that his language classroom is vastly different from that of the mid to late 20th century. The focus is no longer on grammar, memorization, and learning from rote, but rather using language and cultural knowledge as a means to connect to others around the globe. Geographical and physical boundaries are being transcended by technology as students learn to reach out to the world around them using their language and cultural skills to facilitate the connection they are eager to make. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.